Hi everybody. So if you're new to the channel here, my name is TenEarl, and it looks like I got something sticking into my head, but it's not. It's just my clamp, and I have a tough time moving it out of the way. So you're just gonna have to bear with it. You're also gonna have to bear with my kids, who have a tough time playing with each other without going ape. So been kind of slow from this side of the Tabletop Baseball Plus channel. I'm sure you've potentially noticed. If not, that's fine too. I wouldn't necessarily expect it to register with too many, but someone who's watching here live might have said to themselves, I haven't seen much come across from the Tenacious Earl side of things. And so part of the reason is I just basically needed a bit of a break. And so a couple things to just go through. I did finish a Slacker Tour event offline. I really wasn't much in the mood to broadcast it. The reason just being that I'm not. Well, let's just get to point two, which is I think if I'm going to do anything that's like a Slacker Tour in a 2019 variety of this fictional tour world, I might do more simulation of it than anything, because so I've got 24 tournaments in the top tier tour, and then this one's 12. 36 tournaments is just a long project, and I kind of want to get it done, but that's probably where I'm just sort of getting a little bit behind the eight ball in terms of my my motivation, my drive to push through it, especially since the Slacker Tour guys largely are not so overwhelming when it comes to their attributes. Also, the last tournament here was at PNG National, which is a pretty tough course. Par 70 courses tend to be a little on the tough side, and this was no real difference. It got kind of rough there, because I had a guy who, this is the first time I played one of these where the guy went out of contention, and I did it out of contention rules, and it turned out that he not only finished in a tie for the lead at the end, he ended up winning in the playoff. So it really kind of didn't feel so great. I tried to basically use Play's recommendation of, if you get 7 behind, then but that it was early in the round, and that's why usually when I do the Tenacious events, I don't go by that rule, because the out of contention, a lot of guys play better than their regular card would let them play, and so that mechanism, it's suitable, but with these Slacker Tour cards, it gets pretty tough to trust. So I have to, with the way that, my target score was minus 19, and the eventual winner, the tied score for the top was minus 13, and so you kind of see where one of the golfers, I think it was Damari Arias, he had started. So Remington Ramirez was the victor. Not that you'd really necessarily know who that is. Damari Arias, you might not know him either. That's fine. He actually was minus 19 after his third hole. He had birdie eagle, and so 3 holes in, he was 4 under par on the round, and he, aside from a birdie on 18, he had 2 double bogeys, actually 3 double bogeys, and another bogey in the rest of that round to basically bring it up to a 8 over par in that stretch from hole 5 through 17, and then he had a birdie on 18. So that's a +2 round. 5, let me see, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah. So, in any event, I am going to be doing one more event on the Slacker Tour. I have 3 events to do for the Tenacious Tour. I probably need another break, a little bit of time. I'm doing a little bit of grunt work towards something with Atba Soccer. I still haven't forgotten that. I've been trying to formulate my objectives, my some of the things like roster selection. What I've decided. This is basically what I'm deciding to do with Atba Soccer. I know I'm probably going to get some, wow, that's ambitious, wow, that's not going to happen. And I guess I'm here to tell you that that's probably why I'm leading into it this way. I have come up with an alternative Premier League schedule. My plan is to try to play the Premier League teams in an alternative schedule, randomized, it's home and home, round robin, double round robin schedule. It's 38 games, 38 match weeks for 20 teams. That's a lot. My goal at the beginning is to at least get through a week or two and see how it feels. If it's just, I could fully expect it to take me a couple years to play through this, because I think I'm going to have to just wade into it some here and some there and just kind of play through it. If I can get through it, that's how I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to have to marry it in with other projects. So, yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like I said, since this is, I've already decided that I like real players with fictional circumstances, and I think that this sets that up well. Even if I were only to play 2 weeks and sort of just say, you know what, that's enough. I played through some. I got the gist. Feels cool. Maybe I'll play a 3rd week, then maybe play a 4th week a couple of weeks later. You know what I mean? It's maybe by that point I will have found or developed my own quick play results and kind of help to speed through a big portion of the schedule. I'm open to consideration for all these things. I'm not completely wed to a full. It's not a replay. It would just be a full play out schedule. I'm not wed to it, but I'm also. I tend to be ambitious, and so I would like to at least have some level of intention to do it, but I don't think it's going to happen. I'm not going to sit here and say, man, I think I can do this. I know that if I were to put my best foot forward and, focus on it, I could do it. But I think with the other games that I have, with the potential to get other games down the road, I just don't see myself. I think a few weeks will be cool, and maybe once I get a few weeks in, take a little break, do another few weeks. I might slog my way through it in a year or two. I'm not worried about that. Let's just get started with it. So, how does it work? Again, this is going to be an alternative Premier League. I'm not going to use lineups exactly like what were used each week by the EPL teams. I am coming up with sort of what I would consider a depth chart, if you will, for each team. And I'm going to have a D20 roll to determine how many changes are needed to be checked for each team based off of their top choice guy. So I think what I've decided to do, and as I think more and more about this, as I develop it, I've decided I want an average of about 3 potential changes each game from that top choice line, but it's also there's going to be a secondary check. So if a guy played most of the games, then he's not going to be subbed out. You know, understand what I'm saying? So the D20 roll, what that's going to do is there's going to be sort of a a variable between 2 choices, or 2 changes and 4 changes. After that, I will then roll 2d6s to determine which positions, and I'm still working out my percentages on which positions will be checked per game, with that d6, the 2d6 roll. So you add them together, and that will give a distribution. So let's say you were a team that you needed to check for 2 changes. One's a center mid, the other's a forward. You then go to your first choice guy and you see how many games he played. And based on that, then you do another d20 roll, and there will be a range to determine whether or not he plays or sits. If he plays, that's great. He plays. No change. If he sits, then you go to the next guy, and he's the next man up. Although I may add, now that I think about it more here, just sitting here, I may add another layer and say, then let's do one more roll. And out of the guys that are in the depth, you'll have a potential to take any one of those guys as, let's say, your backup forward gets a start. I also have WhoScored.com is a great resource for appearances, basically games started, substitutions, things like that. There's also football-lineups, which is another solid resource. That's where I'm getting my substitution data. I'd like to take a good, be pretty mindful of how teams use their subs for the most part, but I don't necessarily want to be wed to that either. Kind of have a pretty decent idea of how I would want to change a team in the 60-minute, 70-minute, 80-minute mark, whatnot, based on score effects. So the other thing I forgot to mention in this, the percentages for the number of changes are also going to adjust based on who you're playing in the table. And I'm going to do this on a week-to-week basis. Basically, the league table changes. It's 3 points for a win, 1 for a draw, 0 for a loss. So I'm going to take top 4. Let's say if the top 4 is playing another top 4 team, they're going to have fewer changes potentially than if they're going to have more changes if they're going up against a bottom 4 team. And so it's going to be broken up into a 5-way segment: 1 to 4, 5 to 8, 9 to 12, 13 to 16, 17 to 20. And based on where the team is located in that table and their opponent that they're going up against, they will adapt how they use their changes. I mean, if you look at appearances in the Premier League, there is a lot of in and out, whether that's injury, whether it's just you need rest. Some of you may not be that familiar with soccer. Soccer is an extremely grueling game. Not necessarily, in America, it gets this stigma of being for, wimps, etc., etc. Go out there and run 5 miles and then come back and call us, it may not be the, elbow to the head kind of tough, but there's a certain toughness that you need, and the stamina to be able to make it through a 38 game Premier League season. And if you're in a top 4 or top 8, say 8, whether it's the Champions League, Europa League, you're probably not playing in both of those campaigns, but you may get kind of spread between the two some. You also have FA Cup. You also have Carling Cup. So there's a lot of games, and especially for your top teams. So that's how it's going to work. My goal is to mostly keep track of goal and assist stats. I'm not going to be too concerned about discipline. I may develop a spreadsheet just to keep track of team stats, but I think I got to be careful because I don't want to sort of burn out on a lot of that stuff. You can get burned out trying to be overly detailed in a big project, and so the more fluid it can be, the better, I think. And so yeah, second season, still going to get some stuff done with that. That's why I was kind of happy to get this Slacker tour, some of the computer based spreadsheet updates. I got that done. That kind of gives me the chance to wipe my table clean here and see what I'm feeling maybe tomorrow. But of course, tomorrow is the beginning of NFL season. Lots of you will be watching that. Lots of others will not be because of some of the political stuff that has gone on, or whatever, whether it's political, whether it's just you don't find it as exciting as it used to be. Don't we all? But I'm still a Bills fan, and I'm going to support them. High school got started last night, and there's a bunch of college games today. I assume a lot of you are going to be watching that. Kind of assume Dr. Earl Shamblin will be watching his Oklahoma State Cowboys here at some point today. I assume they're playing. I haven't looked at the schedule, but might even be a home game, and if it is, he's probably going to be there. But that's about it. So last thing, I guess, again, just, you have to kind of bear with me. I appreciate the grace you might give me to say, Earl, I understand that it's, there's ups and downs. Hobbyists, this hobby is one of my hobbies that has stuck with me the longest, because there is variety, but it also helps you kind of got to take a step back every once in a while and say, you know what, I need to give this some space because I'm getting feel a little overwhelmed. You don't want to start feeling like work. You don't want to start feeling like an obligation, let's say. And I think with a YouTube channel, it can feel even more like that because we're producing content for you. So just bear with us. I'd like to continue to explore where the channel is going in terms of other games, whether it's game action, whether it's how-tos, I don't know. But just give me the time I need here. We will get some stuff out here at some point. Sometimes just putting one of these videos together and letting it off your chest is enough to say, oh, I can move on now. Because it's, if you're like me, I don't really talk about this to many other people. I don't talk about it to anybody besides you guys, really. I don't. My wife doesn't want to hear it. My kids don't want to hear it. People at work are going to laugh at me, for the most part. So this is about the only place that I can share that I'm feeling a little burnout, or, oh man, I'm super energized, let's keep going, I'll get some more games in today. Sometimes it's that, and sometimes it's I'm just getting a little bit I need a recharge. So, and sometimes that recharge means I just got to step back and take a deep breath. And again, sometimes that recharge can just be, I gotta lay it out there and vent, and then it's going to come around. So we'll see. But if I it won't be before tomorrow. I want to watch some football today and just sort of hang out and take it easy. But any comments, questions, feel free to drop them into the comment box below. I appreciate any likes you give the videos. If you share, that's great. Subscribing to the channel is awesome. We appreciate our subscribers. We're here for the tabletop community, and while it has been a little slower here in the last probably month, it won't always be that way. So let me check the comments that are hanging out here. There's Derek. Hi, Derek. Hi, Mark. Hi, Tribe Fan. Thank you, Derek, for that. Yeah, I'm just being as honest as I can. Hi, Jeremy. And it's nothing that anybody on the channel does or doesn't do. You know how, you know what I mean. It's just, and life gets in the way too. We all have stuff going on. So sometimes, and sometimes when that stuff gets going on and you aren't able to do what you really want to do, that can depress you, so bring you down, be disappointing. But okay, well, just check in. I wanted to be relatively short, and for me 20-25 minutes is very short. So adios. Have a good start to your nice September weekend. Hope the weather starts cooling off soon, and I hope y'all have a dice day, and just keep rolling on and take it easy. See you later.